The American Civil War was raging, and a pivotal moment was about to change the course of history forever. In 1863, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring all enslaved people in Confederate-held territories to be free. But the fight for true freedom had only just begun for Black Americans. The Emancipation Proclamation was a monumental step towards ending slavery in America. But even after this landmark moment, the struggle for equal rights and justice was far from over. African Americans would continue to fight tirelessly on the battlefield, in the factories, and in the halls of government to secure the rights and freedoms they'd been denied for so long. In this video, we'll explore how Black Americans participated actively in the Civil War and the crucial efforts they made in the years after to enshrine their hard-won liberties into law. It's a story of resilience, determination, and the unstoppable pursuit of equality. When the Civil War broke out in 1861, President Lincoln initially focused the Union's efforts on preserving the nation rather than abolishing slavery. However, as the war dragged on, it became clear that ending slavery was crucial to the Union's victory. Thousands of enslaved people in the South saw the war as an opportunity to gain their freedom. They began fleeing their plantations and heading towards Union lines, seeking protection and the chance to fight for the North. Union generals quickly realized the strategic value of these contraband slaves, as they were known. They began actively encouraging enslaved people to escape and join the Union cause. African Americans were eager to take up arms and fight for the Union. Though they were initially barred from enlisting, persistent advocacy finally led the Union to begin recruiting Black soldiers in 1863. By the end of the war, over 180,000 African Americans had served in the Union Army and Navy, playing a vital role in securing victory. The all-Black 54th Massachusetts Infantry became especially renowned for their bravery and skill in battle. Led by the courageous Colonel Robert Gould Shaw, they charged fearlessly into the guns of the Confederate forces at the Battle of Fort Wagner in 1863. Though they suffered heavy casualties, their heroic actions inspired many other African Americans to join the fight. In addition to soldiering, Black Americans also participated in the war effort through acts of defiance and resistance on the home front. Thousands of enslaved people went on strike, refusing to work the fields and factories that sustained the Confederacy. This slave rebellion crippled the Southern economy and was a major blow to the Confederate cause. The wartime experiences of African Americans, both on the battlefield and the home front, helped catalyze the push for full emancipation and equal rights in the years following the war. With the Confederacy's defeat in 1865, the Civil War had ended, but the struggle for Black Americans was far from over. Now they had to contend with an old enemy, the entrenched system of white supremacy that had kept them in bondage for centuries. In the aftermath of the war, newly freed African Americans were determined to solidify their hard-won liberties. They organized political conventions, published newspapers, and pressured the federal government to protect their rights. Their most crucial demand was the enshrinement of universal male suffrage, the right for all men, regardless of race, to vote. This fight came to a head in 1865 with the ratification of the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery nationwide. However, many white Southerners resisted this change and sought to maintain their power through various means, including the enactment of oppressive black codes that severely restricted the freedoms of the formerly enslaved. African Americans responded with mass mobilization, staging protests, and strikes to demand the full rights of citizenship. Their persistence paid off in 1866 with the passage of the 14th Amendment, which granted all persons born in the United States full citizenship and equal protection under the law. The struggle continued in 1867 with the ratification of the 15th Amendment, which prohibited the denial of voting rights based on race. This was a major victory, but it did not end the widespread disenfranchisement of black voters in the South, who faced intimidation, violence, and discriminatory laws that effectively nullified their voting power. Despite these obstacles, African Americans continued to push for greater political representation and economic opportunities. They formed the Freedmen's Bureau, which provided education, health care, and other vital services to the formerly enslaved. They also established their own churches, schools, and businesses, building the foundations of a thriving black middle class. The Reconstruction era that followed the Civil War was a tumultuous and often violent time as white Southerners fought to maintain their grip on power. But African Americans remained undaunted, organizing mass rallies, petitioning Congress, and even running for elected office in unprecedented numbers. This period saw the election of the first African American members of Congress, including Hiram Revels and Joseph Rainey. These trailblazers used their positions to advocate for the rights of their communities and push back against the forces of reaction and white supremacy. The Reconstruction Amendments, though imperfectly implemented, represented a major step forward in the long struggle for black equality. They laid the groundwork for future civil rights movements and inspired generations of African Americans to continue the fight for true freedom and justice. The story of emancipation and the fight for rights in the aftermath of the Civil War is one of immense courage, resilience, and perseverance in the face of overwhelming adversity. African Americans refused to be cowed by the forces of oppression and discrimination, and instead rose up to demand the full rights and privileges of citizenship. Through their actions on the battlefield, in the factories, and in the political arena, they carved out a new path towards equality and justice. The Reconstruction Amendments, though imperfect, represented a monumental achievement in the long struggle to dismantle the entrenched system of white supremacy. The fight, of course, did not end there. African Americans would continue to face daunting challenges in the decades that followed. From the rise of Jim Crow segregation to the brutalities of lynching and racial violence. But the determination and resilience they displayed in the aftermath of the Civil War would serve as an inspiration for generations to come. The story of emancipation and the fight for rights is one of unrelenting courage, unyielding spirit, and an unwavering commitment to the ideals of freedom and equality. It is a testament to the power of the human spirit to overcome even the greatest of obstacles.